Hello and welcome to this demo walkthrough. What you see on the screen is the Vizion API documentation, specifically our recipe section, which provides a simple format for showing step-by-step code demos for common use cases. In this video, we'll focus specifically on the add container trace response to a map recipe. This will show us how to display results from the container trace endpoint as a polyline on a map. So this code is written in JavaScript, but you can, of course, take these general steps and adapt them to your use case and preferred programming language. And we'll start by understanding what the container trace endpoint is, and then dive into the code step by step. So the container trace endpoint allows you to track the movements of the vessel carrying a specific container, and it provides detailed data on the vessel's location. So this includes the latitude and longitude, speed, heading, and a timestamp for each recorded position. And this data is useful for monitoring and viewing the route and behavior of a vessel over time. So let's move on to the code and see how we can use the container trace response to visualize these movements on a map. As a note here, we will be using Mapbox as the web mapping library, but you can use whichever library you'd like, and the steps will be very similar. So in this first step, we are just initializing the map in the way that Mapbox specifies. We choose the center point and the zoom level. Next, we set up an event listener for the load event on the map. This ensures our code executes only after the map has loaded on the page. And once the map has loaded, we use Axios to make a GET request to the container trace endpoint. You can see here we're specifying the reference ID for the trace that we want to receive and specifying our API key. So here you would replace your API key here with your Vizion API key. Once we receive the response, we grab the data, we initialize this empty array to store coordinates, and then we loop through each trace response. We extract the latitude and longitude, and we convert them into GeoJSON format by pushing them into their own array. And GeoJSON is a standard JSON format designed specifically for representing geographical features. So we need our data in this format to display it correctly. So now we have our GeoJSON polyline feature with the coordinates that we just created. And we add it as a source, and then we add it as a layer, which means we actually add it as a visible layer on the map. So here we specify that it is a line layer, and these are all different properties, layout and pane properties that you can specify to change the styling here. So now I can preview my code and see the map in the browser. I can see the journey line plotted, which you can definitely enhance by experimenting with the styling, adding origin and destination points. The options are really endless in that regard. So that's all there is to this particular demo. If you have any specific questions or feedback, please reach out at support@vizionapi.com.